A warm welcome to all our viewers to our series Natural Medicine. My guest is a very special guest. He's a renowned scientist. He's a doctor of computer science. He's a doctor of medicine. He's the head of science and research department at the University of Rostock. And it's a great honour for me to speak to such a scientist, here on a topic that I've never had on the show before, which is the consequences of poor circulation. I remind you of cold feet. I remind you that there are a lot of consequences of a lack of blood circulation, and what can be triggered, and how it can be treated. That's the subject of the show. Welcome, Dr. Jordan Petrov. Thank you very much for having me. It's a great honour to speak to a scientist. I always find it very exciting when science and medicine come together and show up in such a renowned scientist. You're 77 years young. I put it this way, you are incredibly vital and fit. And the way you appear here today actually shows me already that you did a lot of things right in your life. Well, if you bring together a physiologist with a computer scientist or a physicist, in any case, you won't get the same results as if all these disciplines are united into one. Sure, I fully understand. I know another doctor who is a chemist, a biologist, and a doctor. That's also a cool constellation. Yeah, definitely. And now, let's talk about oxygen and blood circulation. That's right, exactly. What is the problem? Or why do some people have blood circulation problems? That's not some people. I always have to contradict, I'm sorry. No, that's cool, sure. Do I know if I have a circulation problem? The blood circulation, yeah, I'll tell you right away. So, the blood circulation problem starts very early. And most of all, men are affected, because their potency already has problems at 40. So maybe some less, some more. It depends, but the blood circulation irrevocably starts to decrease in every human being. And sooner or later, this will lead to us getting old. That's the law of nature, and you can do something about it. So, maybe I should give you some examples. Why is that decreasing? Why is the blood flow rate decreasing? What happens there? Good question. I'm sorry I haven't asked myself that, but definitely there are a few clues. As they grow old, the vessels no longer are as elastic because they store limescale. That's known. Arteriosclerosis is the result. Not yet. That's not atherosclerosis. It's just poor arterial production. They don't have enough vitamin C. Or during the production of the arteries, limescale slowly builds up. No atherosclerosis yet. The vessel is still fully open, but loses elasticity and continues to expand, and a lot of people, if you were to scan them at 60, have wider artery of the abdominal aorta, because it's no longer elastic. But again, why won't it stay elastic? What I said, because during production, we are all woven from tiny fibers. Yeah? And these tiny fibers need, for example, in their production, these are collagen fibers, they need vitamin C. And humans are absolutely undersupplied in vitamin C. And over time, the vessels no longer become as elastic. And if they're not elastic, then the pulsation, this is very important, is not transmitted optimally. And the blood circulation gets worse and worse, and at some point there will also be deposits, and over time the blood circulation continues to worsen. May I ask you something? Yeah? How much vitamin C do humans need every day? And how could I prevent all of this? Would I have to take 3, 4, 5 grams? A counter question, if it's allowed. Which animals need vitamin C? Now, let's see your biology knowledge. Yeah? So? Well, for vitamin C, only guinea pigs, monkeys, and humans need vitamin C. All others produce vitamin C themselves. And if you look at a horse, there you can measure it and compare man and horse according to their weight. Then one would find that the human being should have 16 grams of vitamin C in the blood every day compared to the horse. The horse is optimally cared for, but there must be an extreme charge in humans. The problem is when humans take it in through food, we can't absorb a lot of vitamin C. In old age, the intestine is more poorly absorbed, becomes more and more elastic, and we eat less. And from this less food and poorer absorption, we want to be supplied as when we were young. That doesn't work. That's why old people or elderly people rely on dietary supplements. And one who has taken a lot of criticism for this is Linus Pauling, who took about 11 grams a day. And there are his successors who recommend the same. And everyone criticized him. Linus Pauling died only at 94, when his critics were long dead. So he outlived his critics. You're not the first. I already had a doctor here, a chief of medicine. He also told me between 4 and 16 grams of vitamin C as a preventative measure. But older people, much more in this phase where corona also rages. As I said, this isn't the first time I've heard it, that vitamin C would be valuable. So that's, let's say, is the framework. Yeah, because vitamin C also has a laxative effect. It's recommended to take as much vitamin C until you realize that there is this laxative effect, and then go back on the dose. Exactly, yeah. I have to say that I help myself sometimes by taking a level teaspoon of vitamin C in a glass, then add half a level teaspoon of baking soda, then add water, both react and a sodium ascorbate forms. And I drink that. Then it's more digestible. Can you put vitamin C in hot tea, or is it dangerous? Vitamin C should be destroyed at 70 degrees, so of course I wouldn't necessarily take it in tea, in hot tea. But now we go into the oxygen supply. You understand that with age there is poor blood circulation. A good example is a very threatening disease. This is Alzheimer's. Now, we're already being prepared that Alzheimer's will affect every third person in the foreseeable future, and that aging is responsible for this. I am responsible for causes. It used to be like this. Old age, dementia, old age Alzheimer's. In the village where I was born, where I come from, nobody ever had Alzheimer's, even though the people were very old. They just ate sensibly. Nowadays, Bulgaria comes first for mortality. Well, I could talk about the reasons for 2 or 3 hours. So now I'm going to tell you this Alzheimer's story, how it works. In old age, the blood vessels are not as elastic and the blood circulation is poor. And the first thing that feels it is the brain. The intracranial pressure rises and the brain gives a signal that it wants more blood flow. This is the command center. Blood pressure up, blood pressure raised, there you go. Blood flow is always blood flow equals blood pressure divided by resistance. Nothing different. Ohm's law, yeah? Well, there is good blood supply to the brain, but the patient has a blood pressure of 160. This is important for old people. Younger people have different, some emotional problems. Then the blood pressure is pushed. But now we talk about circulatory disorders, so we're going in the direction of getting old. And the patient goes to the doctor and the doctor measures it and says, no, your blood pressure is high. And the doctor read some study and somebody found out that patients with normal blood pressure live longer in old age. So you take blood pressure reducers. Blood pressure reduces. Blood pressure is 140 or 135 again. The brain's no longer supplied. A patient called me and said, he was 73 at the time, and he said, Jordan, I have fantastic blood pressure, 110/60. I say, you know what? He just returned from the cardiologist. I say, go home, lie down and put your feet up. Because he's in danger of having a stroke. Exactly, I got it right. So decreasing blood pressure artificially increases the risk of a stroke. Of course. But nobody said that before. Well, that's why you have me. So when the blood pressure is lowered, behind this vessel, there is no proper blood supply, because the vessels already offer a little more resistance, because they have deposits and aren't elastic. If I lower my blood pressure, it gets even worse. And now I say, a brain with poor blood supply is a total candidate for Alzheimer's, because the cells die faster. If they die faster, now I'll tell you something else that you've never heard before. The cells, the brain cells, are always burdened with loads. Heavy metals always go in the direction of the brain. And now a lot of cells are dying. What are these cells doing? Where are their loads going? To the next cell. They empty into the brain, and the brain has to take those loads. And now there are a lot more cells, a lot more stress, and it increases so much that at some point the critical point will be reached. And what happens then? Then the worst thing I can imagine, you lose your mind. But if I understand you correctly, no, we've left something here. We can't leave it that way. Yes, absolutely. So that means if there are any signs, I would have to... I don't want to attack the doctors who are lowering blood pressure. It's just not thought through to the end. So, Alexander, how is it with the garden hose when it's clogged? I go and open the hose, so I make sure that my vessels are opened again, that they become more elastic again, and I just have to adjust my blood pressure. That's my question. Is that about the vitamin C? Do you have to give high doses of vitamin C to a person so that the blood pressure automatically lowers by increasing the elasticity of the blood vessels again? The elasticity will definitely go up when I change something with the diet. And that is very important. And I let the people be treated. We get back to the Kleinsche-Fields, I'm sorry. We're going around in circles. I just create better blood flow. So, and people actually have a bad idea of what that means. Poor circulation and better circulation. If I get better blood circulation simply by sleeping on a mattress topper, can you tell me if there would be better therapy? No, never, but briefly explain to me why a Kleinsche-Field increases blood flow or makes these blood vessels, which are becoming stiffer, more elastic again. They are made more elastic because these vessels get better nourishment. Oh, now I understand. They are more dynamic. And most of all, they get, let's say, a widening, because the Kleinsche-Fields act on the nerves that supply the vessels. And I have to tell you that probably only physiologists know that the vessel becomes tight because the muscles receive nerve impulses and the vascular muscles contract. And when the nervous system is overstimulated, the vessels contract and make the poor blood flow. With the Kleinsche-Fields, these many impulses that are running from the brain to the muscle become less because the electricity is regulated there for better stability. The nerve cells fire fewer impulses to the muscle, and it no longer cramps. And then there's better circulation. And now this cramping is the next topic. Many people in old age have cramps. That's almost a widespread disease. And the doctor always prescribes magnesium. Yeah, now we get to the point. So, the doctor prescribes 800 milligrams. That's almost a gram. 800 milligrams at night. Somehow, he missed something, this doctor. The regulation of magnesium is different. At 800 milligrams, the blood concentration rises first, rises high. The body immediately notices, oh, too much magnesium. It steers back. And that is a process that is swung out, and at 2 a.m. you have less magnesium than the night you took it. Fantastic. So, and that's why, of course, the solution is always there right away. You simply have to take the 800 milligrams in 4 doses throughout the day. So, that's why magnesium is good, and especially... maybe you haven't heard that. Wait, I also have 2 questions in between. If you lie on such Kleinsche-Fields and the increased oxygen supply is there, and ultimately through the increased delivery of nutrients to my blood vessels, ensure that it doesn't clump, the blood pressure doesn't rise, everything is good. Do I still need vitamin C, or do I no longer need it? Vitamin C will always be needed because Kleinsche-Fields are an aid. But this supplementing, do I still need supplementing it? Definitely. I told you how the intestine becomes wide and no longer reabsorbs. What do you recommend for 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds? How many grams? Well, I would always go for 4 or 5 grams a day, but the way I explained. Everyone. So I can't buy tablets or Aeron, for example, dissolve them in water and drink. If the number of grams is correct, everything's okay. Good, okay, so an important tip for all of us, we should take 4 to 5 grams of vitamin C, and by lying on these Kleinsche-Fields so that this oxygen supply then But wait a minute, have I then taken the best Alzheimer's and dementia prevention that I can do? That's actually very good, yes. But there's also a small insertion here. There is a very rare disease that is a genetic mutation that people can't cope with vitamin C, and they get kidney problems. And precisely because of this mutation and the kidney problem, the leaflet for vitamin C is always used, and it says, careful, you may get kidney failure. But it's really very rare. But there's no prescription required for vitamin C. I don't have to go to the doctor for it. Yeah, of course. If you are unlucky enough to have such a genetic mutation, I don't know how many have it, but it is extremely rare. If you have it, you have to start with small amounts first to see, not the 5 grams, to see whether you are having a kidney problem somehow. And now, talking about the kidney problem, I have to tell you something now about the production of ATP. That's the energy carrier. Yeah? The muscle that cramps, it doesn't just cramp because it has poor blood circulation. It cramps because it has too little ATP. The muscle is firm when it contracts and softens when you give it ATP. ATP is the muscle softener. And when you slaughter an animal, that's why the animal tenses up after death. And you can't cut it. That's why you hang it up until the muscle connections are totally gone after a few hours. And then you can cut the animal, even if there is no ATP. And now a practical application for this energy production. If you're at risk of getting a cramp, you wrap Kleinsche around the calf or wherever. The cramp will be gone in 5 minutes. Because it's been proven that at these locations, the ATP production increases by over 300%. Everything will be well in 5 minutes. You've already shown how my hand got warmer in 5 minutes. Yeah, that was in the last episode. And then there is now a case. But it would also be enough if I lie on a mattress topper. That would be enough. That means I don't get cramps when I'm lying on a topper like that. Usually not. But nobody knows that either. And the fat legs get slim again too. And the varicose veins go away. The varicose veins will go away. But for the varicose veins, the cause is a connective tissue weakness. Connective tissue weakness. And the connective tissue weakness is that collagen production again, which is always worse with a lack of vitamin C. So actually people with varicose veins have to take a lot of vitamin C. Add the appropriate nutrients. Another problem. Osteoarthritis. Doctors always say that the cause of osteoarthritis or heel spurs is excessive stress of the bone there and the periosteum. That's not true at all. Or maybe it's just a little bit true. Because the cause, like in a diabetic, the cause of osteoarthritis is always over-acidity. Because you have uric acid, which is an important parameter in medicine. You have uric acid, and uric acid, dear Alexander, that's written in the biochemistry book, but nobody reads it. The uric acid is not soluble in water, but it is soluble in solutions of mineral salts. What does that mean? That means that if you have few mineral salts, where there are few mineral salts, where the organism is not well supplied with oxygen, because I said that fermentation also makes you acidic, more hydrochloric acid will crystallize out in the form of the finest crystals. And these crystals act like the proverbial spanner in the works and irritate the skin. And then you get, when you take minerals, you dissolve the uric acid and it's excreted through the kidneys. I've totally got it. With a lot of minerals, and by combating acidity, you're helping your kidneys. And the kidneys, they are so important. So almost everyone somehow suffers from kidney failure in old age. We have to talk a lot more, dear Jordan. Is the time up? Yeah, the time's up. It's really sad. I'm sorry. But you know, you really open one barrel after the other. Now, we have to do an episode about arteriosclerosis. We have to do one about osteoarthritis. We have to do one about the kidneys and certainly more. I'm happy to help. So, dear Jordan, we'll stay tuned. Dear viewers, I'm very grateful that I'm fortunate enough to have the great blessing that QS24 is able to have such great guests more and more, and we're allowed to share with you the knowledge of a scientist, a doctor who has dealt with it. So my heart really opens when I see what we can do, for example, to prevent a stroke, and how we can sleep without cramps, how we can increase blood circulation. What we've heard today is incredible, and in that sense, meditate on it, sleep on it, make up your own mind. All the best, and see you next time.